You heard about the time he opened up the plane door, didn't you, on the small plane coming
No,
Omaha, Nebraska?
no, I've never heard that.
Okay, well, here, I'll tell it to you real quick. I was afraid of the stand plane. It was a 7-passenger, and we had an old, I think he was Air Force pilot who flew it, and he'd never deviate between two spots. So if there was thunderstorms between Toronto and St. Paul, instead of going around this way, he'd go right through them, So Maddog, and I wasn't flying on the small plane because that was just too scary. So we're wrestling in Omaha, and he came up to me and he says to me, his son had gotten in trouble in Montreal, and he said to me, Jimmy, he said, do you have any uppers? And a lot of the guys who drove, used to carry Dexedrine, because you drive every single day. So I told him, I said, yes. And he says, I'm driving. When I get home from Omaha tonight, when we land in Minneapolis, I'm driving to Montreal, and I need something to keep me awake. So what happened was I gave him 2. I says, this will be one for your ride there and one for your ride back. I says, it'll keep you up. You won't fall asleep. So unbeknown to me, he took one before his match, and he was sipping on Southern Comfort. So to make a long story short, he wound up taking both of them before he got on the plane.
Oh no.
And he drank a pint of Southern Comfort, and he was really, fidgety. So Adrian Adonis, who was on the plane, said, Maddog, he says, you're out of control. And he says, I take these uppers. He says, I'm going to drive back. So Adrian gave him a Quaalude.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so he took this Quaalude, and he was drinking wine on the plane. So they're flying at 6,500 feet back to Minneapolis, and all of a sudden Maddog decides to open the door of the plane, flying, at 145 miles an hour at 6,000 feet. And he actually had the door open, and he had one foot on the outside, and it scared the death. Thank God that door was chained hard onto the fuselage, because if the door would have come off and hit the tail, it would have killed everybody. So I didn't even know this happened until next morning. I get a call from the secretary, Mary Louise, at the wrestling office, said, Jim Vern wants you to come in immediately and, talk to him. So I didn't know what was going on. So I got in there, and he said to me, he says, you almost caused the airplane to go down. I said, what? And he says, Maddog, he says, he took those pills you gave him, and he says, he opened up the door. And I said, oh my God, So thank God that didn't result in a horrible tragedy. But Maddog was banned from the plane. And from that point on, I don't think that he got too many more main events. They were just a little scared of him. So it was always the big towns where you could fly nonstop commercially, so you wouldn't have to drive or stuff like that. But yeah, he's a real character.
That's a crazy story.